Venezuela's Communication Minister Jorge Rodriguez has presented evidence of a meeting between opposition leader Juan Guaido and the Venezuelan government. Rodriguez presented surveillance footage showing Guaido walking into Hotel Lido. Constituent Assembly President Diosdado Cabello is also seen walking into the hotel. The minister says that the meeting took place on January 22nd, just one day before Guaido declared himself interim president, and where Guaido would have said that the U.S. was pressuring him.
Mr. Interim Representative Juan Guaido, Mr. Representative, but you're an evangelical, Señor Marrero. You can't lie. You can't lie.
¿Dijeron o no dijeron todo esto que yo estoy
Did you say that or not?
Aquí queda demostrado lo mentiroso.
Here we're showing how big of a liar you are.
Aquí queda demostrado que no tienen palabra.
This is showing that you have no
Que no
words.
pueden sostener ni siquiera una mentira.
That you can't hold a lie.
Que no pueden sostener
You can't keep up
un montaje que hicieron para tratar de
with a setup that you did to fool the people of Venezuela and the public opinion, the international public opinion. Mr. Interim Representative Juan Guaido, the lie
patas cortas.
has short legs.
Y para ser mentiroso,
And to be a liar,
muy buena
you need a very good memory.
Parece que eso
And it seems that you don't have it.
Muchísimas gracias.
And in a press conference, Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro said the channels of communication with the opposition remain wide open, but he wants dialogue to take place without conditions. Maduro also says he will cling to the Bolivarian constitution to defeat the coup against his government. President Maduro made the remarks while talking to international media at the presidential palace in Caracas regarding the ongoing political crisis in the country.
The effort of many partial agreements that allow us to progress in peace and to strengthen democracy, and for a global agreement of governance, peace, democracy, self-determination of the country within the framework of the Constitution. This is the framework for any national dialogue, and I am committed to national dialogue. Today, tomorrow, and always, I will be committed and ready to go wherever I have to go personally. If I have to go to meet to this boy wearing a cap, two caps, in the Humboldt Hotel at 3 a.m. I go. If I also have to wear a cap, I go. Or if I have to go naked, I also go. However I have to go. Walking, in a motorcycle, in a car, I will go because I believe in democracy, in the word. I believe in truth. I'm a Democrat. I keep my word. And I talk of dialogue from my moral and political strength, from our democratic convictions, because we believe that only through dialogue and diplomacy can we attain solutions to the conflicts. And it's not violence, it's not interventionism, it's not a coup, the road. Never in the 21st century to settle disputes and conflicts. No, the road are not bullets, it's not missiles, it's not military threat or intervention, it's not a coup that they're trying against Venezuela. The road is dialogue, diplomacy, understanding, word, the search for solutions and negotiation. That is the road.
The High Commissioner for Human Rights has also called for dialogue as the way to solve the Venezuelan crisis. A spokesperson for this office says Commissioner Michelle Bachelet has expressed its, quote, concern over the situation.
The High Commissioner is extremely concerned, and I quote, that the situation in Venezuela may rapidly spiral out of control with catastrophic consequences. She says it's vital the authorities refrain from closing any remaining avenue of dialogue by prosecuting political and social leaders, including members of the National Assembly.
And Russia has offered to mediate between the government and the opposition in Venezuela if necessary. The comments come a day after Moscow stood by Nicolas Maduro as Venezuela's legitimate president. Russia says it will cooperate with all political forces that have acted responsibly. But despite the calls for dialogue made by President Maduro and different international bodies, the opposition leader Juan Guaido has rejected any attempts to talk and has called for more national demonstrations. Guaido proclaimed himself as interim president on Wednesday, which only the U.S. and its Latin American allies have recognized.
It must be very clear for the world and this regime, nobody is attending a fake dialogue.
Meanwhile, the European Union has made a call for fresh elections in Venezuela. If this call is not heeded, the EU will recognize Guaido as interim president. This, according to Spain's foreign minister.
The European Union released a statement by the High Representative, which has unanimous support from all member states, where, once again and in a more direct way, we recognize and insist on the capacity for democratic action by the National Assembly, whose legitimacy we recognize, and there need to be elections in Venezuela, as it's the only way to give the Venezuelan people a say in the matter and resolve the situation.
President Maduro has responded to Spain's petition by asking the Spanish government not to intervene in his country's domestic affairs.
Spain should not be giving any advice to a Bolivarian Venezuela from Bolivar. Spain should respect us. It's as simple as that. They can do whatever they want with their threats. Nobody threatens us. Venezuela will continue on its path, and if they want to leave Venezuela, then go, with your ambassadors, with all your personnel. We don't care. We have decided to be free. We will not fall for blackmail from anyone.
Maduro has also thanked world leaders, social movements, and activists for their support for the Bolivarian government.
In the United States, there's a wave rising to reject the coup that is pretended to in Venezuela. The coup of the government of Donald Trump against the legitimate government of President Maduro and the Bolivarian Revolution and the Venezuelan democracy. An awareness is rising, and I talk to that consciousness, the noble democratic consciousness of millions of men and women around the world who know that Venezuela has democracy, that once again a coup is attempted against Venezuela, monitored, financed, conducted by the government of the United States.
And support for Venezuela has poured in from all over the world. On Thursday, CARICOM heads of governments reaffirmed the bloc's guiding principles of non-interference and non-intervention in the affairs of states. In an official statement, CARICOM countries said the political crisis in Venezuela has been worsened by recent events and can only be resolved through meaningful dialogue and diplomacy. CARICOM leaders are now seeking an urgent meeting with the United Nations to request the UN's assistance in resolving the situation in Venezuela.
Market and economy, CSME. Supported by other leaders as
Cuba's Foreign Minister Bruno Rodriguez also sent his support to Maduro and said that U.S. behavior is violating international law. Rodriguez says those actions pose a threat to peace and stability in the entire region. And Argentinian indigenous activist Milagros Sala has also expressed solidarity with Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro. The activist highlighted Maduro's leadership in the defense of Venezuela against interference.
President Nicolas Maduro, I send all my solidarity and help to you. I'm at your service, Commander, at any time you need me. Latin America is grateful for your leadership and all you have done for us. Venezuela is one of the few Latin American countries that is not in debt with the International Monetary Fund. I wish you victory, President. Yes to the homeland, no to colonialism.
We'll be back very soon. Stay with us. Welcome back to Colombia now, where a national strike has been called after yet another social leader was murdered. Silvia Maritza Ramirez Chaverra was the president of the Community Action Board of the municipality of Aguas Claras. The circumstances surrounding her death are still unknown. Our correspondent Jose Manuel Jimenez has more.
Laura Peña Cáceres and Maritza Ramírez Chavera, 11 social leaders have been killed so far this year in Colombia. During the current term of the government of Iván Duque, 99 social leaders have been murdered. Since the signing of the peace agreement, the number has rose to 458 social leaders killed in the country. This Thursday, the UN Security Council released a press statement after the presentation of the quarterly report on the implementation of the peace agreement between Colombia and the FARC. It said the government should use all its resources to guarantee the path to peace that was agreed with the FARC. The report added that there are some other groups like the National Liberation Army and paramilitary groups influencing the internal conflict. The Security Council has also urged the Colombian state to protect social leaders in the different regions like Valle del Cauca, Tumaco, Putumayo, and Nariño, where campesinos, Afro-descendants, indigenous people, and trade union leaders have been hit by violence. The situation can get even more complicated.
For that report, rescue workers in Brazil are working to pull people from the mud after a mining dam collapsed in the southern state of Minas Gerais. The civil defense agency in a nearby town is evacuating homes close to the river, but reported that the mud has not arrived there yet. Authorities said they had no confirmed reports of fatalities, but around 200 people are reported missing. The dam, belonging to the Brazilian Minervale SA, ruptured earlier on Friday. 6 days after the pipeline explosion in Mexico, the death toll has risen to 100. According to the Mexican Social Security Institute, 4 injured people died early Thursday. The institute said that there are another 11 people still hospitalized. The illegal gas pipeline tap exploded in the Mexican state of Hidalgo. Pope Francis has offered words of encouragement to young offenders during his visit to a youth detention center in Panama. The Pope officiated a mass while the young people heard their confessions. The pontiff criticized the invisible walls that marginalize and isolate society's so-called sinners. Later on Friday, he will lead a procession of stations to the cross in Panama City.
You will never be able to do this. You will never be able to do that. How many times did you hear this? You can't do it. Be careful. This is like bootworms that eat you from the inside. When somebody tells you you can't do it, give yourself a slap in the face.
I am very nervous, very emotional. But first and foremost, I feel happiness because today I will have the chance to meet the Pope. And when I found out that I was selected to be part of the choir here in the center, my emotions were running high. I thought that I lost this opportunity because I behaved badly in the streets, but God is great.
The Pope also said he doesn't think the Catholic Church needs to be cool to attract new followers. His comments come as the Church continues to lose influence in the face of the advance of evangelical groups. On several occasions, Pope Francis has discussed the need to make changes in the Church while staying away from controversial issues like gay marriage, abortion, euthanasia, and allowing women to be priests. Meanwhile, the LGBTQ community in the country has staged a kissing marathon in protest of the Catholic Church's approach to homosexuality. They say they want to be recognized and accepted in their religious communities. Parliamentaries in St. Lucia will debate a no-confidence motion in the leadership of Prime Minister Alan Chesnut on January 29th. The motion calls for Chesnut's immediate resignation. The opposition leader has cited mounting abuse of public office, unreasonable decision-making, and unsustainable fiscal deficits. The motion can only succeed if 3 government MPs support it.
39(1) of the Finance Administration that they shall be charged.
The Bolivian capital La Paz is facing a garbage crisis after a landslide forced the city's dump to close. Fissures began appearing in the landfill in mid-January, exposing waste and a dark liquid which municipality leaders say is toxic and puts their community at risk. For that, they have blocked the entrance to the dump until a solution is reached. Meanwhile, citizens were asked to keep trash in their homes. We'll be back very soon. Stay with us.
Our actions have an impact on the environment. It's our responsibility to change for the sake of our planet. Let's be part of this transition. Watch, preserve, and protect your Green Zone. Wednesdays, only on Telesur.
Welcome back. U.S. President Donald Trump has announced a deal to reopen the government for 3 weeks. A congressional source says the deal does not include funds for the wall at the U.S.-Mexico border wall. Trump said this agreement will only fund the government until February 15th, but added he will declare a national emergency if a deal is not reached with the Democrats on border security.
It'll happen fast. In a short while, I will sign a bill to open our government for 3 weeks until February 15th. I will make sure that all employees receive their back pay very quickly or as soon as possible. It'll happen fast. I am asking Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell to put this proposal on the floor immediately.
In the Philippines, voters have decisively approved a new Muslim-led region in the country's south. It's hoped that the measure will bring peace after decades of fighting. This was the final step in a peace deal with the Moro Islamic Liberation Front, which will now assume political power. The rebellion began in the 1970s, and it's estimated to have claimed 150,000 lives. A young Palestinian has been killed by Israeli forces during clashes in the Gaza border. 25-year-old Ehab Abed was shot dead in his heart. Israeli forces have used tear gas and live fire to thousands of protesters at multiple sites along the border. Another Palestinian was killed in a separate incident in the West Bank. Swedish climate activist Greta Thunberg says oil and gas companies are committing crimes against humanity. The 16-year-old staged a protest Friday on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum in Davos.
I want you to panic. I want you to feel the fear I feel every day. And then I want you to act. I want you to act as if you would in a crisis. I want you to act as if our house is on fire. Because it is. At places like Davos, people like to tell success stories. But their financial success has come with an unthinkable price tag. And on climate change, we have to acknowledge that we have failed.
And in Spain, a rescue mission to save a toddler trapped in a well for 12 days has entered its riskiest phase. Rescuers are now using explosives to make their way through hard rock wall to reach the space where the 2-year-old child remains trapped. Miners also drilled a 60-meter parallel shaft to gain access to the well. The boy, Julian, fell into the hole while walking through an estate in southern Spain with his family. Chinese scientists have cloned 5 monkeys to aid research into human psychological problems. The monkeys were cloned from a single animal that was genetically engineered to have a sleep disorder. The new monkeys show signs of mental problems. This is the latest in a series of biomedical advances in the country, but clonation keeps fueling medical ethics debates. And with that story, we've come to the end of this news brief. These and other stories, as always, find them on our website at telesurenglish.net. And also join us on social media. We are on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram. For Telecer English, I am Estefania Bravo. Thank you for watching.